Thanks for stopping by, GF Explorers. Today, I have the perfect cocktail for your Thanksgiving and Christmas celebration. It is the Cranberry Manhattan. And let me show you how to make that. I'm going to start out with a ½ ounce each of sweet vermouth, cranberry liqueur. I'm going to get that in my shaker. Then we're going to do 2 ounces of your favorite whiskey. Pretty much any whiskey will do. Everybody's got their favorite brand. Use my cocktail spoon and just give this a nice mix. I prefer most of my drinks stirred, not shaken. All right, that looks about good. In my cocktail glass with my lovely frozen ice ball I have there, I'm going to put a little bit of Peychaud's bitters and a couple dashes of Angostura bitters. And I'm going to go right into a cocktail glass. Oh, the color on that looks really great. We're going to garnish it with a couple of fresh cranberries and some fresh orange zest. And there you have it, the Cranberry Manhattan. Wow, such a well-balanced drink. Classic Manhattan with the sweet vermouth and the whiskey, but then you have that added component, that added holiday component of cranberry liqueur. Now, the first thing you're going to ask me is, Rich, where the heck do I get cranberry liqueur? Well, you make it yourself. This is a recipe that I've been making every year for the past 10 years for our family holiday celebrations, and today I'm going to show you how to make the very same thing. You need some time and you need some patience, but the end result is well worth it. Let me show you how I do it. The hardest part is not combining these ingredients. The hardest part is waiting for the final product. So I've got 2 12-ounce bags of cranberries in my food processor. I'm just going to give these a quick buzz just to break them up. They don't have to be finely chopped or anything like that. You just want to make sure you get all those berries kind of quickly broken up. So I'm going to pulse it a couple times here. And when it looks like there are no whole berries left in there, I'm going to call that good. So in my infusion jar, and if you don't have an infusion jar, I think I picked this one up at Cost Plus World Market. Great jar you can make. This is a single batch we're making today. You can make a double and even triple batch in this if you want to. But I've got 1 liter of vodka in there. Use the cheap stuff. Don't use the good drinking vodka or the martini vodkas. Just use cheap vodka. It'll be fine. All right, let's get our blade out of the way here. I always hate messing with the food processor blade. We'll get that out of our way, and we're going to put our cranberries right into our vodka. All right, got most of them out of there. That looks great. Now you could put the lid on this and set this down in a cool, dry place, but I like to spice it up a little bit. So what I have here is I have the zest of 1 orange, I have 2 cinnamon sticks, and about a ½ dozen or so of allspice berries, whole allspice. You don't want to put any ground spices in this if you're going to kind of add for flavors. You want whole pieces in there because it is going to infuse in the vodka, and if you use ground spices, it's going to take the flavors way up over the top. I've made that mistake. Trust me, you don't want to do that. Use whole spices if you add anything at all in here. So we're going to get these right into our infusion jar. Give this a quick mix. And put on your lid, and that's it. There's all there is to it. So get this down in a cool, dark place where it won't be disturbed. Let it rest for a minimum of the 30 days, preferably longer if you can. But in 30 days, this will be ready for our Christmas celebration. Every week or so, give it a check, maybe give it a little stir just to mix things up a little bit. And then when you've pulled all the color out of the cranberries and our liquid is a really nice dark ruby red and the cranberries are almost transparent, that's when you know it's ready to pull and be bottled. And we're going to show you how to do that next. After you've waited patiently for a minimum of a month and preferably 2 or 3 months, this is what remains. And you can see here what has happened is all the juice has been sucked out of all the cranberry pieces. They're almost white now, and they've all settled down to the bottom of our container. So our cranberry infusion has fully taken place. The next thing we want to do is separate the solids from the liquids. So we're going to strain this off, and then we're going to do a double strain with some cheesecloth to get as many of the solids out of there as possible. Our final step will be to introduce some simple syrup to bring some sweetness and kind of lighten up the heavy alcohol flavor, and it'll really make the flavors in the cranberries explode. So let me show you how we do that. All right, we're at the stovetop. It's time to make our simple syrup. I have 4 cups of water on the cooktop over medium heat, and I'm going to put an equal amount of white sugar in there, so 4 cups of sugar. And we want to heat this only until all of this sugar melts. We do not want to bring this to a boil. So I'm just going to keep it on medium heat and stir consistently, and as soon as I see all the sugar crystals have fully dissolved, we're going to take it off the heat and let it cool. All right, we're at the sink. I've got a large metal bowl as well as a strainer that kind of hooks onto the bowl. You'll definitely want to do this over the sink in case there's any spillage, because it will make quite the mess. So the first thing we want to do is we want to separate out the crushed up cranberries from our liquid. So I'm just going to get in here and dump right into what is that thing? Oh, I'm going to dump right into the strainer. And you can see our solids coming out of there. And I don't want to overfill my bowl, so I'm going to stop right there. The one thing you'll want to do is make sure you press these cranberry pieces down really well, because there's a lot of juice, a lot of good juice in those. So you can see how much when you squeeze them is still coming out of there. So really get in there and give them a good squeeze and get as much of that delicious infused alcohol out of there as you can. All right, I think that looks about good. Now, this is kind of what's left over, and you can just throw this away, but this is edible. This actually makes a really amazing ice cream topping. Crushed up cranberries that are booze infused. So again, you can throw this away, or feel free to make yourself a holiday dessert and top some ice cream with that, because it is quite delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of this bottle, separate out my liquids, and then I'll show you how we do our final strain with the cheesecloth. All right, we've set up for our second straining. So really what we want to do is get all the tiny little seeds and any little pieces out so our final liqueur is as smooth as possible. So I've got the same strainer, I've got a new bowl, and I doubled over some cheesecloth in here. And we're just going to gently pour this through. And you can see we don't have a lot of solid matter in there, but I still always go through this step. And you can see right there, most of our solid materials have settled to the bottom. So I'm just going to pour, I don't want any of those seeds and stuff in there, so I'm going to stop right there. And you can see we captured some stuff there that we just don't want in our liqueur. All right, so we have our cranberry liqueur, twice filtered, ready to go. We've got our simple syrup that we've made earlier. Now comes the fun part. We get to kind of set our sweetness level. And you don't want to guess here and do your whole batch, because if it turns out wrong, you can't go back. So what I'd like to do is try it with a small batch and taste it until I like it. I start with a 1/4 cup of simple syrup to 1 cup of the cranberry liqueur. And depending on the tartness of your cranberries, how your batch ends up turning out, it could be somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3 or even 1/2 cup of the simple syrup to 1 cup of the cranberry liqueur. So let's start out by measuring out 1 cup of our cranberry. Okay, that's just about a cup. And I'm going to measure out 1/4 cup. And I've got my cocktail spoon. I'm going to give this a gentle stir. The cranberry smell coming from the liqueur is really pretty amazing. And cheers, we're going to give this a little taste test. I'm going to say we're probably going to want it just a little bit more on the sweeter side. Boy, I can tell you when you really, really taste just the hint of that orange peel and the cinnamon stick and the allspice and cloves that's in there, it just really gives it this warmth and this really beautiful holiday flavor. So I think we're going to go up to 1/3 and try that and see how that tastes. Okay, let's give this another try. I've got another cup of our cranberry. This time we're going to go up to 1/3 of a cup. Let's give this a stir. And let's try this. Cheers. Oh yeah, that's it. We're there. So our measurement is 1/3 of a cup to 1 cup of your cranberry mixture. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and measure this out, find out how much I have, then do the appropriate conversion to get the right amount of simple syrup in there. So you'll really know when you hit it because you just kind of feel your flavors kind of open up and explode. And again, for me, 1/3 to 1 cup was our ideal place where we're at. Your results could vary, and it depends on your taste too. You want a more stronger, more powerful flavor? Don't put as much simple syrup in there. You want it way sweeter, almost make it like a cordial, like a really sweet liqueur? Go ahead and go up to that 1/2 cup to a cup ratio. It's up to you. That's what I love about making things homemade, is you design it how you like to taste it. This was a double batch, so I ended up with 12 cups of cranberry infusion, which, going with my 1/3, I've combined in 4 cups of simple syrup, blended it all together, and now we're going to bottle it. And what you need to do, now this is a tough chore, but you have to save bottles, and preferably bottles with lids. This used to be a bottle of Côte de Rose's Rosé, and Victoria and I really love the Côte de Rose's Rosé, so we spent the summer emptying about 6 bottles out over the entire summer, so we would have bottles to bottle our cranberry liqueur here in the fall. The one thing I love about this bottle is it has a reusable top with a rubber seal on it. So this will seal completely airtight, and this will allow your cranberry liqueur to last for up to a year in this bottle. So what I do is I get it on a towel, get a funnel in there, get my clean measuring cup out, and go ahead and fill my bottle. And you can see it's dripping a little bit. This is why we put the towel down on the cutting board. Didn't say this was the cleanest, easiest task in the world, but it is one of the most fun for sure. And I'm going to get just a little bit more in there. I'm going to call that good. Pop our seal down, and there you have it. Your cranberry liqueur it might be tight to get this done for the Thanksgiving holiday, but if you make this now, it'll for sure be ready for your Christmas celebration for sure. If you put it in a fancy bottle like this one, makes a great gift for your friends. Homemade cranberry liqueur, the key ingredient to the Cranberry Manhattan, your best holiday cocktail. A link to the recipe will for sure be in a description below, or you can go visit our website at gfexplorers.com. Also consider joining our Facebook group at Facebook Groups GF Explorers. And until next time, happy drinking.